Think about the most common financial advice you've ever received. Save more, spend less, work hard, be responsible, live below your means. Now think about the people who follow that advice most faithfully. The ones who clip coupons, track every dollar, never miss a bill payment, never take a risk they can't calculate in advance. Are they the wealthiest people you know? Probably not. And that quiet contradiction, the gap between doing everything right and still not getting ahead, is exactly what this video is about. Because here's what nobody told you when they handed you those rules. They're not wrong. They're incomplete. They're the surface layer of a much deeper system, a set of economic principles that govern how money actually moves in the world. And those principles work in ways that are almost exactly opposite to what most people believe. In 2008, the state of Maryland decided to solve a budget problem by taxing its wealthiest residents more. The math was clean. There were about 8,000 millionaires in the state. Raise their taxes, collect $106 million more per year. Problem solved. Here's what actually happened. Within 2 years, 2,000 of those millionaires had simply left, moved to other states. And Maryland didn't gain $106 million, it lost $257 million in total tax revenue. The solution became the problem. Not because the intention was wrong, because the people who designed it didn't understand how incentives actually work. They focused on what they wanted to happen, and completely ignored what they were actually rewarding people to do. That gap between intention and outcome is the most expensive gap in personal finance. And almost nobody teaches you how to close it. By the end of this video, you'll have a different framework for every financial decision you make. Not more rules, a different lens. One that shows you what's actually happening beneath the surface of every choice, every price, every trade-off you face. But first, let me show you why the traditional financial education model was never designed to give you this. Most financial education teaches you mechanics, how to build a budget, how to open a brokerage account, how compound interest works over time, how to calculate a debt-to-income ratio. These are real skills. They matter. And if you never learned them, learning them will help you. But mechanics aren't principles. Mechanics tell you how to operate a system. Principles tell you why the system behaves the way it does. And without principles, you can follow every mechanical rule perfectly and still consistently get results you didn't expect and didn't want. Thomas Sowell spent decades trying to fix this problem. A Stanford economist who grew up in poverty in Harlem, Sowell wrote a 700-page book called Basic Economics with one central purpose: to explain how economic systems actually behave, not how we wish they would behave. His opening argument is simple and devastating. Economics is the study of the use of scarce resources which have alternative uses. That's it. Every economic decision, personal, corporate, or governmental, is about choosing what to do with something limited. Time, money, energy, attention. You can only use each one once. And every use has a cost. Not just what you paid, but what you gave up. But here's the principle that changes everything. People respond to incentives, not to intentions, not to rules, not to what you want them to do, to what you reward them to do. Maryland wanted millionaires to pay more taxes, but what they actually rewarded through their policy was leaving. So the millionaires left. You want to save more money, but if every time you feel stressed, spending gives you immediate relief, and saving gives you nothing that feels good today, what are you actually rewarding? The behavior you want or the behavior you have? This is the gap that traditional financial education never addresses. It hands you the mechanics without the principles. And without the principles, the mechanics keep breaking down in ways that feel personal, like character flaws, like discipline failures, when they're actually just predictable responses to the wrong incentives. The first step to closing that gap is understanding the rules that are actually governing your financial life, starting with the one that costs most people the most money, and that almost nobody ever calculates. There are 3 rules about money that most people believe. and that work almost exactly backwards from how they think. The first rule: your time is free if you're not paying for it. It isn't. Every hour has a price, whether you charge it or not. The question isn't whether you're spending time, it's whether you're spending it on something worth more than what you're giving up. Think about it this way. You're a lawyer who bills $300 an hour. You're also reasonably good at cleaning. Should you clean your own office? The instinctive answer is yes. It saves money. You're capable. Why pay someone else? Here's the actual answer. Hire a cleaner for $20 an hour. Use that hour to do legal work instead. You make $300, pay $20, and you're $280 ahead. The free option, cleaning yourself, cost you $280. Economists call this opportunity cost. The real cost of any choice is what you give up to make it, and most people never calculate it. Every hour you spend on something you're mediocre at, administrative work, tasks you hate, skills you'll never master, is an hour you didn't spend on what only you can do. The cost isn't zero. It's everything that hour could have produced. The second rule: the price you pay is what something costs. It isn't. The real cost is what that money could have become. You buy a car for $50,000, beautiful. Leather seats. You feel like you made it. But here's the number most people never calculate. If you had bought a $20,000 car instead and invested the $30,000 difference at a modest 7% annual return, in 30 years that $30,000 becomes nearly $250,000. The car didn't cost $50,000. It cost $250,000. Every spending decision you make is actually two decisions: the thing you're buying and everything that money could have compounded into. Most people only see the first number. The second number is where wealth is built or destroyed. The third rule: you get paid what you deserve. You don't. You get paid what you produce. Imagine you run a lemonade stand and hire two people. Maria is fast, friendly, and helps you sell 10 extra cups at $1 each, $10 of additional value. Jake is slow, distracted, and generates 2 extra cups, $2 of value. What can you pay Maria? Up to $10 before you lose money. What can you pay Jake? Up to $2. This isn't unfair, it's math. Your employer isn't paying for your effort, your loyalty, or your years of service. They're paying for the value those things produce. Want to earn more? The path isn't working harder at what you already do. It's producing more value, which almost always means learning something new, building something scarce, or solving a problem nobody else is solving. A Northwestern University study found that wage growth is most strongly correlated not with years of experience, but with skill acquisition. The market pays for what it needs. The more specifically you can provide what the market needs, the more it pays. These 3 rules, opportunity cost, the real price, and value creation, already contradict most of what people believe about money. But what comes next is where it gets genuinely uncomfortable. Here's where this stops being abstract. Because these rules don't just apply to your personal choices, they apply to the policies and systems that shape the financial environment you're living in. And understanding them changes how you read every political promise, every economic headline, and every financial product that claims to make your life easier. New York City has a housing crisis. Rents are high. People are struggling. Politicians step in and implement rent control, legally limiting how much landlords can charge. The intention is clear: make housing affordable for regular people. Here's what actually happened. At the artificially low price, demand exploded. Everyone who was thinking about getting their own place, college students, adult children still at home, couples considering separating, suddenly could. Supply didn't increase, demand did. The people who needed housing most had to compete with everyone else grabbing extra. Then it got worse. If landlords can't raise rents, they stop maintaining buildings. Repairs stop. Roofs rot. Eventually, some landlords walk away entirely. Today, New York City has 4 times as many abandoned apartments as people sleeping on the street, right outside those empty buildings. The solution created the problem it was trying to solve. Same pattern with food. Zimbabwe artificially capped food prices during an inflation crisis. Stores emptied within hours. Farmers stopped bringing crops to market because selling at the controlled price meant losing money. People starved while food rotted on farms. Set the price too low, shortage. Set it too high, surplus that rots while people go without. Now bring this back to your personal financial life. Every time you try to control the outcome of a financial decision without understanding the incentives driving it, the same dynamic appears. You want to spend less, so you create a strict budget with no flexibility. The budget feels like a cage. You resent it. You break it. Then you feel like a failure. The solution, the rigid control, created the behavior it was trying to prevent. You want to invest, but you wait until you feel completely ready. Ready never comes. The waiting was supposed to protect you. It just kept you out of the market during years of compounding growth. You try to avoid financial risk entirely and end up with the biggest risk of all. Money sitting in a savings account losing value to inflation every single year. Good intentions without understanding of incentives consistently produce the opposite of the intended result. In governments, in markets, and in your own financial decisions. This isn't a coincidence. It's a pattern. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. Let's make this personal. Because the same economic principles that explain Maryland's tax disaster and New York's housing crisis are operating in your financial life right now. In 3 specific areas most people never connect to economics. The first is how you treat financial losses. Most people treat a failing project, a bad investment, or a business idea that isn't working as a personal failure. Something to push through, something to save through sheer determination. Economists see it differently. Losses are directions, not judgments. When a project keeps bleeding money, the market is sending a clear signal. Stop. This isn't working. Redirect these resources somewhere they'll actually produce value. The most expensive thing you can do is keep funding what isn't working, because stopping feels like giving up. Every dollar and every hour you pour into the wrong direction is a dollar and an hour that can't go toward the right one. Countries understand this at scale. When the Soviet Union kept funding industries that were losing money, because admitting failure felt politically impossible, they didn't just waste resources, they prevented those resources from going anywhere useful. The system collapsed under the weight of accumulated misdirection. Your side project that's been bleeding cash for 3 years isn't perseverance. It's the same dynamic, smaller scale. Kill it. Take back your time and money. That's not failure. That's the most economically rational decision you can make. The second area is how you think about specialization. Switzerland has no oil, no diamonds, no rare earth minerals, no natural advantage in agriculture or manufacturing at scale. By conventional logic, it should be poor. It's one of the wealthiest countries on earth. Venezuela has massive oil reserves, one of the largest in the world. By conventional logic, it should be rich. Its people are starving. The difference isn't resources. It's what each country does with what it has. Switzerland specialized relentlessly in finance, in precision manufacturing, in pharmaceuticals, in the things it could do better than almost anyone. Venezuela tried to control everything and ended up with nothing working. Now apply this to your career or your business. Every hour you spend on something you're average at is an hour Switzerland spent trying to grow coffee. The opportunity cost is everything your actual strength could have compounded into. The third area is how you read prices. When something gets expensive here, a skill, a market, a type of work, most people's instinct is to resist it, complain about it, wait for it to come down. Prices are messages. When something gets expensive, it means more people want it than there is supply. That's not bad news. That's a signal about where demand is concentrated and where the opportunity is. The programmers who learned AI skills in 2020 when the field felt esoteric and uncertain didn't just get ahead of a trend. They read a price signal, the growing premium on those skills, and responded before the market became crowded. Sowell put it simply, the first lesson of economics is scarcity. The first lesson of politics is to ignore the first lesson of economics. The same is true in personal finance. The first lesson is that prices are signals. The second lesson, which most people learn, is to ignore them. So how do you actually apply this? Not as economic theory, as a practical framework for the financial decisions you'll make this week, this month, this year. 3 questions, that's all. The first question, what am I actually rewarding? Not what you want to happen. What your current behavior is rewarding. You want to build wealth. But every time financial anxiety spikes, spending gives you immediate relief, and saving gives you nothing that feels good today. What are you rewarding? The anxiety response, not the wealth-building behavior. You want to grow your income, but you stay in situations that are comfortable and predictable rather than ones that require you to produce more value. What are you rewarding? Comfort, not growth. The gap between what you intend and what you do is almost always a gap between what you want and what you're actually incentivizing yourself to do. Close that gap, and the behavior changes, without willpower, without discipline, without forcing anything. The second question, what is the real cost of this choice? Not the price, the opportunity cost. What does this money, this time, this attention become if it goes somewhere else? The $50,000 car isn't a $50,000 decision. It's a $250,000 decision. The hours spent on work you're mediocre at isn't a free hour. It's everything your actual strength could have produced instead. Start calculating the second number. Not just what you're spending, what you're giving up. That number changes decisions in ways that the sticker price never will. The third question, what is this price telling me? When something feels too expensive, too risky, too uncertain, before resisting it, ask what the price is signaling. Is demand concentrated here? Is this where the market is moving? Is the discomfort coming from the price itself, or from the fact that the price is pointing towards something that requires you to change? Prices are the only honest signal in the economy. They don't have agendas. They don't flatter you. They just tell you where supply and demand are, and by extension, where the opportunities and risks are concentrated. I want to be honest about the limits here. Economics is an entire field. Sowell's book is 700 pages for a reason. What this video gave you is the frame, the principles underneath the mechanics that most financial education never teaches. Understanding these principles won't make you rich automatically, but it will do something arguably more valuable. It will make you very difficult to fool. You weren't taught bad financial rules. You were taught incomplete ones. Save more, spend less, work hard. These aren't wrong. They're just the surface of a system that operates on principles most people never see. Principles that explain why good intentions produce bad outcomes, why the obvious solution creates the problem, why the person doing everything right still ends up stuck. Now you have the framework underneath. People respond to incentives, not intentions. Every choice has a cost that goes beyond the price. Prices are signals, not enemies. Losses are directions, not judgments. Trade is cooperation, not war. Your value determines your income, not your effort, not your loyalty, not your years. These aren't opinions. They're the mechanics of how wealth moves in the world. Here's the one thing I'd ask you to do this week. Pick one financial decision you've been wrestling with, something you've been avoiding, delaying, or doing out of habit, and run it through the 3 questions. What am I rewarding? What is the real cost? What is this price telling me? Just one decision. One honest look at the incentives underneath it. Because the difference between people who build wealth consistently and people who don't isn't discipline or luck or the right investment at the right time. It's who learned to read the signals that money was always sending. and who kept trying to override them with intentions that felt right but weren't. The signals were always there. Now you know how to read them. If this changed how you see financial decisions, the next video goes deeper into one specific signal most people completely misread: how the labor market actually values your skills, and why the traditional career advice about working hard and staying loyal is the most expensive economic mistake you can make. That video is already here, linked above. Thank you for watching. Genuinely.